All right, let's get right into it. We are on the verge of one of the biggest economic shifts of our lifetime, and it's all happening in the world of luxury real estate. And this isn't just about bigger houses changing hands. No, it's a fundamental change in how wealth, identity, and the very idea of a home are all connected. So let's start with the headline number, the one that's driving this whole conversation. $4.6 trillion. Yeah, that's trillion with a T. It's a number that's so big, it's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. So what does it actually represent? Well, there it is. That's the value of all the property that Gen X and Millennials are set to inherit across the globe. And not just someday, but within the next 10 years. This is the heart of what's being called the Great Wealth Transfer, and it is going to completely reshape the luxury market as we know it. Let's dig into that a little bit. We're not just talking about assets simply moving from one account to another. What we're really looking at is a global reshuffling of wealth, and that has massive implications for where and how the next generation is going to choose to live. And get this, look at where this transfer is concentrated. A whopping 52%. Yep, more than half of this entire global inheritance is expected to land right here in the US market. That makes America ground zero for this entire economic event, the absolute epicenter of all the opportunity and all the disruption. Okay, so we've covered the what, that huge number, and the where, a lot of it right here in the US. So now let's get to the who. Who are these new heirs, and what makes them tick? Because it is crystal clear that they have a totally different psychology when it comes to wealth and property. And this quote here from Michael Altno at Coldwell Banker Global Luxury, it just nails it. It really boils down to three things: identity, lifestyle, and financial value. For this new generation, a home isn't just a place to live. It's a core part of who they are, how they live, and their long-term financial strategy. And we can actually break this new mindset down into four key pillars. First, purchases are intentional. They're strategic. Second, a home has to be a personal reflection of who they are. Third, the property itself is seen as a sanctuary, a place for their well-being. And finally, and this one is a really big deal, real estate is no longer some passive investment. It's an active, central piece of their financial planning. So what's the first major trend we're seeing because of this new way of thinking? Well, it's basically the end of what people have been calling quiet luxury. That whole minimalist, understated vibe is out. What's in? Something much more unforgettable. You can see the contrast so clearly here. The old way was all about being understated, blending in. The new demand is for homes with presence. They need to be distinctive, architectural, to tell a story. The focus is shifting away from just privacy inside the house to a much grander scale. We're talking acreage, unforgettable views, the whole package. And this quote from top agent Jade Mills really drives that point home. She says buyers want presence and lasting value. And just listen to those keywords: acreage, privacy, forever views, architectural quality. A home has to tell a story now. It's got to be an experience, not just a structure. And if you need proof, the hard data backs this all up. Nearly 2/3, a full 64% of inquiries for luxury homes are now for properties with 5 or more bedrooms. This isn't some niche trend. This is the dominant demand in the market right now. So think about it. If the new demand is for presence, for acreage, for those forever views, where do you even find that? Well, for a lot of these buyers, it means looking way beyond the traditional super dense luxury markets. And what that's doing is completely redrawing the map of luxury, showing us exactly where all this mobile wealth is moving. So for a second, forget the usual coastal hubs. The data is pointing to a massive surge in demand in cities all across the South and the Midwest. I'm talking about places like Atlanta, Nashville, Dallas, even San Diego, Salt Lake City, and Minneapolis are becoming the new luxury hotspots, and they're backed by strong local economies and steady growth. So why these cities? Well, it all comes right back to that new mindset we were talking about. These markets offer stability, they have amazing lifestyle amenities, and they hold the promise of long-term real estate value. You know, affluent buyers have more flexibility than ever before, and they are choosing these cities very, very strategically. Okay, so let's tie this all together. Why does this shift really truly matter? Because what we're witnessing here is a fundamental change in financial behavior, where a house has become so much more than just a house. First, for a little context, Even before this big transfer started, real estate was already a massive part of high net worth portfolios. We're talking almost 30% of all assets, so it's always been a cornerstone of wealth. But here's the crucial point. Look at where the money is going now. Home-related spending, that means upgrading your main house, buying a second home, is now growing over 18% faster than spending on personal luxury goods. That is a massive reprioritization of how discretionary money is being spent. It's moving away from things and toward the home. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway. For this next generation of wealth, real estate is no longer just a passive asset or a line item in a portfolio. It's actually transforming into a central expression of their personal identity, a sanctuary for their well-being, and the primary focus of their luxury spending. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. As all these trillions of dollars change hands and find a new home, maybe the very definition of luxury is changing right in front of our eyes. Maybe it's not about what you own anymore, but about how and where you choose to live.